friends. Welcome to the online lecture on DA. We'll be talking about analysis of algorithm. In the previous lecture, we spoke about what is time complexity, what is space complexity. Today, we'll talk about asymptotic notations. So the main idea of asymptotic analysis is to have a measure of the efficiency of algorithms that don't depend on the machine specific constants and does not require algorithms to be implemented, and also the time taken by programs to be compared, right? So it is one of the efficient way of measuring the efficiency of algorithms, time complexity of algorithms. So let us start with the lecture now. So asymptotic notations are mathematical tools to represent the time complexity of algorithms for asymptotic analysis. See, last lecture we also saw, like when you're looking at the time function of any algorithm, what we do, we discard the constants and we just retain the higher term, right? So here you can see the complexity given in ascending order, 1 log n log n log n square, n cube, n is missing here in fact, right? So most commonly used asymptotic notations are big O notation, that is which gives you asymptotic upper bound, big omega, which gives you asymptotic lower bound, and big theta, which gives you asymptotic tight bound. And when you talk about big O notation, in the previous lecture, we spoke about best case, worst case, and average case. So big O notation will always give you the worst case, that is the maximum time an algorithm will take for execution. And big omega will always give you the minimum time, that is a lower bound, right? The time an algorithm will take for execution. Whereas big theta will always give you the average time. So it will give you a tighter bound, right? So let us look at them one by one. So big O, that is asymptotic upper bound, and even it is used to represent the worst case analysis of an algorithm. So the big O notation defines an upper bound of an algorithm. It bounds a function only from above. In the worst case analysis, we calculate upper bound on running time of an algorithm, how much maximum time an algorithm will take for execution. So we consider a case that causes maximum number of operations to be executed, right? We discard the constant, but we do concentrate on the operations which will take maximum number of times, especially the loops in the program. Previously also we spoke about the linear search. So for linear search, the worst case happens when the element to be searched is not present in the list or it is the last element. Suppose you're searching for an item in a list, right? If you cannot find it, that means you have to traverse the whole list. And suppose the size of the list is n, that means you have to traverse all the n elements. And if it is the last element, then also you have to traverse the whole list, right? So that is worst case. So most of the times algorithms are analyzed using worst case analysis. Why? Because it guarantees an upper bound on the running time of an algorithm, which is really a good information. Right? So let us look at the definition of big O. So the function here f of n is equal to big O of g of n if and only if there exists positive constants c and n0 such that f of n is less than equal to c into g of n for all n greater than equal to ng. So this is a mathematical definition of our big O notation. So what we are saying our function, input function, that algorithm function f of n is equal to big O of g of n if and only if there exists some positive constant. That means the value cannot be negative of c and n0. C and n0 are the constant whose value is always positive. Now such that f of n is always less than or equal to c into g of n for all n greater than equal to n. So let us take a simple example so the concept will be more clear. So here we say f of n is equal to, let us say the equation what we get for our input function is 2n plus 3. Now, as per this notation, what we say 2n plus 3 is less than equal to c into g of n. Now, what is c? C is a constant. Fine. So, what we do is f of n is replaced by 2n plus 3 and c is replaced by 10. G of n is nothing but n. Fine. So if you take c as 10, now if you calculate, the condition is true, right? If n is equal to 1. If you take the value of n is equal to 1, what it will be? It will be 1 into 2. So it is 2 plus 3, that is 5. And here 10 into 1, that is 10. So it is greater than 2n plus 3. Right? What you're doing is substituting the value of n is equal to 1. So if you look at this, then what we say, we do conclude that for f of n is equal to big O of n, f of n can also be equated as big O of n square, and f of n is equal to big O of log n cannot be accepted. Why? Because it is giving you the upper bound. Now look at this diagram carefully. It is the same complexity given in ascending order. What we got f of n. F of n is a tighter bound actually, which is an average bound, right? So if an algorithm is taking n, it can also take n log n, it can also take n square, it can also take n cube. Why? Because we are giving the maximum time, that is upper bound, the worst case analysis, right? But it cannot go this side because this is giving you lower bound. So it cannot be log n. It can be n square, it can be n, but it cannot be log n, because from n you can go to n square, then more towards the upper bound, but it cannot go reverse into the lower bound, right? So f of n big O of log n is equal to, will not be allowed. So why do we take big O of n instead of big O of n square? Because what we are doing is we are giving tighter upper bound. So what we do, you try to write the closest function. Is it fine? So big O notation gives you the worst case analysis of an algorithm. In short, it gives you the maximum time an algorithm takes for execution. So let us take an example so the concept will be still more clear. The same f of n, suppose we have f of n is 2n plus 3. Now substituting f of n is equal to 2n plus 3 greater than equal to c into g of n, right? Now this time we take constant c as 3. Let us start with 3, c as 3. So replace c with 3, g of n is nothing but n. Now, if I write n is equal to 2, if n is equal to 2, what I get, is the condition true? No. What I get, 4 plus 3 is 7, but here it is less than equal to 6. Is it true? No, it is not less than equal to 6, but it is greater than 6. Now, if I make the n value as 3, then what will happen? 2n plus 3 is less than equal to 3n. So this is also 9, this is also 9. So here f of n is equal to c into g of n. When it is equal, when the value of n is 3. So if you look at the diagram this side, this is the upper bound, that is c into g of n, and this is my function f of n. Now, in the beginning, it may not be in a proper shape, like it may not be always less than, right? You can just look at the curve. But after some threshold, after some value of n, it will always be greater than f of n, right? C into g of n will always be greater than f of n, right? So this type value is nothing but here. It is not the true case, right? But as soon as n becomes 3, after n's value is 3, it will always increase. C into g of n will always be greater than f of n. So at this point of time, C into g of n and f of n is equal. When it is equal when the value of n is 3. Therefore, n0 is equal to 3. Is it fine? When n0 is equal to 3, this is the cross point, right? From here onwards, C into g of n will always be greater than f of n. Fine. So let us see here again. When I increase the value, now n becomes 4. Now when n becomes 4, I get 11 here and 12 here. So condition is true. Now this is my f of n and this is my c into g of n. So it is greater than f of n. Now when I increase the value of n is equal to 5, again it is same. When I increase n is equal to 6, again it is same. So as I increase my n value, it will always remain greater. But after what? After the value of n is equal to 3, that is after the value of n is greater than or equal to 3, this condition will be true. So this is what it shows. N0 is nothing but 3. That is a threshold. So after this, it will always be greater. And at this point, it is always equal. That is why we say less than or equal to C into G of n. For all n greater than equal to N0. So what is N0? N0 is 3 here. I hope the concept is a bit clear. Okay. The next asymptotic notation what we have is big omega, right? It gives you the lower bound and it is used to represent the best case analysis of an algorithm. So in the best case analysis, we calculate lower bound on running time of an algorithm. So we consider the case that causes minimum number of operations to be executed. Whereas in case of big O notation, what we did, we counted the maximum number of operations to be executed. But in case of big omega, it is exactly opposite. What we are doing, we are considering the minimum number of operations to be executed. So again, the same example of linear search. So in the linear search problem, the best case occurs when the element to be searched is present at the first location, right? The number of operations in the best case is constant. That is, does not depend on the size of your input n. So the time complexity in the best case would be big theta of 1, right? That is constant. Whereas in case of big O notation, we saw the linear search problem was what? When you get the item at the end of the list or the item does not exist. That means you have to traverse the whole list. If the size of list is n, your complexity will be n. But in case of best case, it is not depending on the size of your input, right? The complexity is constant. So let us look at the definition of big omega. So here the input function f of n is equal to big omega, that is omega of g of n, if and only if there exists positive constant c and n0 such that f of n is greater than or equal to c into g of n for all n greater than equal to n0, right? So what is the difference here? It is exactly same what we have written for big O, only this notation is different. Here now f of n is greater than equal to c into g of n, whereas in case of big O notation, f of n was less than or equal to c into g of n. So this symbol is the only change you have in case of big O notation and in case of big omega notation. Now again, let us take the same previous example where f of n is equal to 2n plus 3. So let us replace f of n with 2n plus 3. Greater than equal to c is the constant again, and g of n is nothing but n, right? Now let us take the value of c is equal to 1. So what you get here, 1 into n, and here you have 2n plus 3. That means f of n is greater than g of n. Fine, f of n is greater than g of n. Therefore, we can write f of n is equal to big omega of n, or we can also write f of n is equal to big omega of log n, but we cannot write f of n is equal to big omega of n square. Why? You start from n. If you go on the higher side, it becomes upper bound. We are talking about lower bound. So less than n, so we can talk about log n. Fine. So, but when you're writing it, you'll always write big omega of n. Why? Because you are choosing the closest function. This is also correct. This is also correct, but this is more correct to give you tighter lower bound. Is it fine? So lower bound is what? Best case, and upper bound is what? Worst case. Upper bound gives you the maximum time. Lower bound gives you the minimum time an algorithm will take for execution. Now let us look at the same example what we saw for big O notation. So again here, I have f of n as 2n plus 3 greater than equal to, now c value we have taken as 3 as in the previous case of big O notation, right? And n is equal to 1. So right now, c is replaced with 3. G of n is nothing but n. So now let us have n is equal to 1. So when you have n is equal to 1, will the condition will be true? So this will be what? 2 plus 3, that is 5. And this is 3 into 1, that is 3. So condition is true. This is 5 is greater than 3. Now, when I increase the value of n to 2, c is will remain constant as it is as 3. When n becomes 2, again the condition is true. This is 2 into 2, 4 plus 3, that is 7. And here 3 into 2, that is 6. Now when I increase the value of n, now from 2 it becomes 3. Then what it will be? 3 into 2, that is 6 plus 3, 9. And here it will be 3 into 3, that is again 9. So this is the condition where f of n is equal to c into g of n. And that is nothing but your n0 value, right? When the value is equal here, f of n is equal to c into g of n. Now, if you look at the diagram carefully, Here f of n is a function and c into g of n is the lower bound. It gives the lower bound of the function. Whereas if you remember in case of big O notation, we had c into g of n as an upper bound and it was above your f of n. Now here it is below your function f of n. So it gives you the lower bound, and the point when the value of f of n and c into g of n is same, then n value is nothing but n0. Fine. Now suppose I increase the value of n is equal to 4 now. Now, is it true? No, it is not true. Why? Because now it is 4 into 2, that is 8 plus 3, that is 11. And now this will become 12. So this is greater. So this will not work. That means after n0, whatever you have after n0 will give you the best case, whereas it will give you the worst case. So the overall function f of n is greater than equal to c into g of n, where for all n greater than equal to n0. So I hope big O notation is clear and big omega is also clear, right? Now next what you have is big theta, which is asymptotic tight bound, which gives you the average case, the average time an algorithm takes for execution. So the theta notation bounds a function from above and below. So it defines exact asymptotic behavior. So this is my f of n, right? And on upper side, it is bounded by C2 into G of n, and the lower bound, it is bounded by C1 into G of n. So this f of n is bounded on upper side as well as on the lower side, right? So in average case analysis, we take all possible inputs and calculate computing time for all the inputs, sum all the calculated values, and divide the sum by total number of inputs. It's a bit complicated. The average case analysis is not easy to do in most of the practical cases, and it is rarely done because you cannot predict the average time of an algorithm. Why? In the average case analysis, we must know the mathematical distribution of all possible inputs. See, in case of best case, if you find the first element in linear search, you say it is best case. And if you don't find the element, or if it is in the last element, then you say it is worst case. But you cannot say whether the element you have found is in the middle of it, right? So average case is difficult to calculate and it is not mostly used. Mostly what we use worst case, that is the maximum time an algorithm will take for execution. So let us look at the definition. Now again you have the function f of n is equal to theta of g of n if and only if there exists positive constants C1 and C1, C2 and N0 such that C1 into G of n is less than equal to f of n, which is less than equal to C2 into G of n for all n greater than equal to Ng. So again, the same example what we have taken previously. We have f of n is equal to 2n plus 3. Now substitute the value here. C1 into G of n, f of n is substituted by 2n plus 3, right? Now, let us take C1 as 1 because it is a lower bound and G of n is nothing but n. We already know when we took C1 is equal to 1, it gave us the lower bound. And let us replace C2 with 4 as a constant and G of n is n. Now, C1 we have taken as 1 and C2 we have taken as 4, looking at the previous examples what we have seen already, because C2 equal to 4 gave us the worst case and C1 is equal to 1 which gives us the best case, right? So the condition is true here. It is 1, it is only n and it is 4n. So n is smaller than 2n plus 3 and it is 2n plus 3 is smaller than 4n. Fine. So we can write, therefore we can write f of n is equal to theta of n. If you write f of n is equal to theta of n square, f of n is equal to theta of log n, you cannot write this. It is not allowed. Why? Because what theta gives you? Look at this slide, what I put it here. What theta gives you? Theta gives you the average bound, right? That means it will give you the exact time, that is n. It cannot be less than n, it cannot be more than n. So it is exact n. So it is difficult to calculate. I hope the concept is clear. Big O, big omega and big theta. Big O gives you the worst case, the maximum time an algorithm takes, where C into G of n is greater than F of n. Why? It is giving you the upper bound of F of n. And when you talk about big omega, it gives you the best case, that the minimum time an algorithm takes for execution. So here your F of n is greater than or equal to C into G of n. Then we talk about big theta, which gives you the average case. So big theta is bounded on both the sides, upper bound as well as the lower bound. So it has two constants, C1, C2, and N0. Right? And it is difficult to calculate big theta. I hope the asymptotic notations are clear. If you have any query, you can write me back or you can put it in the comments. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.